All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International. And today we have Colleen Gallagher on with us today. And oh man, let me put this on the screen for you all. We are going to be talking about AI and real estate. So Colleen has some information for us on how to creative ways to purchase properties. And we're going to later on talk about how AI can enhance your situation. So if you want to know more about this, you want to hang on, ladies and gentlemen, hang on to what we're going to be talking about today. And you don't want to miss this one. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to jump right into our theme music, get the show started, and have Colleen come on in and we'll introduce her. Okay. So stand by. Don't want to miss this. Get your notes out. It's going to be a hot show. There we are, folks. Here we are. And this morning, we have with us, Miss Colleen Gallagher. Do you still use Deals on Wheels, Colleen?
Yes, sir. I still can go buy Deals on Wheels.
That is so great. So, Colleen, let me pull you up here on the screen here. And listen, if you want to turn on your camera, go right ahead. But this picture is just fine. We want to hear you. We want to see you. We want to actually go by what you want to put on the screen. Now, when you want to put something on the screen, you just tell me, and we'll put your examples on the screen. But Colleen, tell us who you are and what you're going to take us through today.
You got it. So, Don, I am Colleen. I am from Philly. I am a creative investor and real estate wholesaler. I am going to take you all through creative confidence. So, how to do creative financing, buying properties with promises. I am also paralyzed in a wheelchair. I only put that out there because I want people to know the things that I'm teaching them are capable. If I could do it sitting down, you could do it standing up. I was shot at 25 years old. I woke up in a coma. I was in that coma for 2 months. I also grew up in the foster care system. I aged out at 18. I definitely felt like I was not accomplishing enough in life. I wanted more for my child and I wanted to be involved in real estate, but I didn't have the help or handouts that some people do get. I didn't have the credit or the capital. So I had to get creative with my acquisitions, how I would acquire real estate. About 4 years ago is when I started. I saved up all that I could for a couple years and I was able to buy my first property, but then I needed the funds to renovate it. So I started to do wholesaling. And for those that don't know, wholesaling is just essentially flipping contracts. So getting a property under contract at one price and then finding a buyer willing to pay more and making that money in the middle there. I also started going to tax sales. And I do talk about that a little bit in this, but really the purpose of this demonstration or this presentation is to talk about building trust with sellers, going direct to seller, not paying any realtor fees, no commissions, and being able to negotiate terms with them, turning them into the bank, and being able to get the deed signed over to you while you sign a promissory note with them.
Colleen, I can't even conceive of that. That can actually happen.
Yes, it can actually happen.
Listen, I need all of you. I need all of you who are in Clubhouse right now to get on the stage so that you can see this and listen to this. And I need you to interact. Listen, you need to ask questions once you get this information, and if you, and click on the link at the top so that you can also watch us on YouTube right now. Let me bring Credit Goddess up. I see you there, Credit Goddess. All right, there you are. So listen, Colleen, let me know what you need me to do. You just direct me. This is your show. You are in charge for the next hour and a half to 2 hours or whatever it is you need, because we're going to go 2 hours today. Okay.
Okay.
And but listen, I know you're busy. You just tell me, Don, I gotta go. And listen, everybody will
Tell me if
understand.
I'm going too long. Yeah. I can definitely get very passionate about this topic. So you tell me if I go too far.
All right, listen, this is going to be good. This is going to be good for me and information that I need. So go right ahead, Colleen. You're on.
All right, everybody. Listen, I am going to be pouring very heavily, and I don't want to miss any questions. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to try to catch them. Don, if you see anything I didn't catch, please throw it at me so I do have the opportunity to answer that.
Excellent.
Yep, everybody, I'm investing with Colleen on Instagram, COLLEEN, investing with Colleen. Give me a follow. Anybody that's listening in today, if you want the recording, the private training, just if you're a friend of Don's, you're a friend of mine, send me a DM on Instagram and I will send you a private training video that I don't give out for free, but I want you all to have it. All right. For those that are interested in owning real estate, put a 1 in the chat. If your goals are ownership, not just making money in real estate, but actually holding properties, having passive income.
Ooh. Now, don't forget now, when you want me to put this stuff on the screen, you let me know, and then you'll be able to see it as well.
Okay. And you can see my screen right here where it says today's agenda.
I can see it, but nobody else can until I turn it on.
Okay. Can you turn that on for them?
Yes, there you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that. Don is the best, but getting used to StreamYard. But today's agenda, we're going to go over knowing what your goals are. Some people want a certain number of doors. Some people want a certain amount every month, passive income. It's very important to know what your goals are and focus on achieving them. So write down what your goals are. We're also going to work on building confidence. If you are not confident, the sellers aren't going to want to work with you. They'll just be, they might politely say, oh, not at this time. But if you were a little more confident, you might be able to get that deal. So we got to build that confidence up. How to find and identify a potential creative deal. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can locate these kind of deals. When I first heard about creative finance, I did not believe it. I said, how could this be real? Why would somebody sign their deed over to me without checking my credit, without asking for this large lump sum? Why would anybody do that? But there's plenty of reasons why a seller will want the convenience of selling a property on terms.
Exactly, Colleen. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
Why would they do that? Why? How can I make that happen?
Hopefully by the end of today, Don, you will be able to locate a motivated seller and get a deal, negotiate some terms. So,
okay.
We're also going to be talking about structuring the terms and passing down keys for our kids. Some sellers, and back to why they would do it, some sellers, they build all this up for their children, but their children couldn't be more interested in real estate than the parents. The kids are just not into it. So they build all this up. Now, do they really want to pass down that large portfolio to the kids? and give them that opportunity to sell everything, maybe just in a matter of months, sell it for pennies on the dollar, and then run out of that money, like spend it. Some kids are not going to have the passion for real estate that the owners actually have, the parents. So sometimes it's better for them to sell the property on terms, because instead of passing down a burden or an opportunity for the children to spend all that money, passing down the terms. So if somebody sells their property to me on terms, I
Mhm.
turn them into the bank and I pay them over time. We can put in those terms, if anything were to happen to them, those monthly payments go to their heirs. So
Oh,
instead of your children getting the opportunity to, blow away the family inheritance or fortune that you've built so hard, instead they get good, safe, passive income. I would rather them have, one check every month from each property than the opportunity to sell them all. But
so you're not just getting the property. You're setting up a system whereby these folks have worked hard, built up this portfolio, but they can still get money to their estate.
oh, yes, yes, you can put it in the terms that any future payments, if that seller were to no longer be here, could go to their children, to the heirs.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And
Yeah.
listen, this is getting more exciting by the minute.
Listen, we all know that today's children, today's generation does not work as hard as we did coming up.
You got that right.
And some of them would not be good with money. They would not be able to manage the portfolios. So it is something that investors have to think about. The other thing they think about is capital gains tax. Do they want to give a big chunk of what they worked hard for to Uncle Sam? If they
Mm,
sell the property for cash, they will have to give that chunk up. If they do it on installment sale or creative finance, seller financing, they don't have to give that chunk in one shot. They just pay the taxes on the income as they earn it. So as they are landlording along.
mm.
But there's many reasons. It's giving them the one thing they love about being a landlord. You ask all landlords, what do you love about being a landlord? They're going to tell you the passive income, the cash flow.
Wow.
But if you ask them, what are some things you hate about being a landlord? The list goes on and on. I hate the maintenance calls. I hate the taxes, the toilets, the tenants. I hate all of it.
The
I,
three T's.
yes, I hate the leaky roofs. I hate all the expenses. What if I can give you the one thing you love about being a landlord without any of the things you hate?
Wow, wow, wow. Listen, we've got several people in here on Clubhouse, several people listening to us on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Please put your comments in the chat. If you want to come to the stage, go ahead. And Colleen, I just want you to know I have Ian Pedley in here. He's listening all the way in from Australia right now.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Ian. Nice to meet you. Thank you for listening in.
All right, Colleen. Oh, I see that picture. Look at you with the
Oh,
red hair. Come
that's
on.
at a closing, and like their sign, it says we're open till closing.
All right. What you got here for us?
So this is about knowing your goals. What is your reason why? Why do you want to build a portfolio up? Is it for your children? Is it for yourself? Like, is it for social media? Like, what is the real reason you want to do that? Separate your business goals from your personal goals. What's your personal goals? So this could be health, this could be faith, this could be personal development. And then what are your family goals? Because you're going to have to carve out that time for your family. You get in this real estate world, you get locked into that journey, and a lot of time will be consumed as you are building up your wealth. But you have to realize your family is so important. So carve out those family goals. Are you looking to wholesale? If so, what are those wholesale goals? And then real estate goals in general. Is it always to do single family homes? Are you looking for something larger? Know what the plan is. so you can work on getting to the finish line. Excuse me. Confidence is key. The seller can sense when you are not confident. They know. And they really want to work with that person that feels confident. They feel like they can trust them. The more you practice, the more confident you will be. Role play with your friends, role play with your family members. Make some phone calls to sellers. If they say no, that's fine, but you got the practice in.
I'd like to ask you a question here, Colleen. So even when I got that practice in and I start doing this for real, if I make mistakes, is that going to be okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's part of the process in gaining
Very,
confidence.
oh,
Okay.
so much so. You're not going to get 100% of every shot you take, but it definitely is going to lead you down the right path.
Got
So if I don't talk to any sellers, I don't get any deals. But if I take my shot, I take my time and practice, I'm definitely going to get deals. So it's okay if you don't get that first one, the second one, hey, even the third, fourth, it doesn't matter. What matters is, are you going to stay consistent? Are you going to keep shooting your shot? Or are you going to sit on the bench and watch everybody else win?
Wow. I love it.
So there are more sellers interested in creative options than you think. I actually have had to turn some sellers down because not every deal is going to be right for your portfolio. But there are plenty of tired landlords out here, people that just don't want to deal with the headaches of real estate, but they do want that cash flow.
Mm.
All right. So, if the deal isn't close to being able to cash flow, and what I mean by that is, if you bought that deal today, how long would it take you to be able to put a tenant in there? If
Mhm.
it is something where it's a major project, there's no roof there, you got to do electrical, plumbing, sheetrock. I mean, we're talking full gut rehab. Forget it. Do not take on that project because it can cost you way more than money and time, sanity, dealing with the teams, the contractors. You want something that can cash flow. It's a business. You got to treat it like that. So if you were looking to buy a business, would you buy the business that's completely burnt down and you have to put all this time and money into it? Or would you buy the business that, oh, okay, maybe it needs a little upgrading, it just needs a nice touch, a little makeover, but it could be able to cash flow in the next 30 days. That's the kind of property you're looking for. So we'll cover how to find the creative deal, what to look out for when considering a potential deal, learning to say no more than yes. Because what's going to hurt you the most in this is thinking you have a deal when it's really a project and it's a headache. You got to be able to say no to these sellers. Just because they're willing to sell on terms does not make it a deal. We're going to cover structuring the terms and how to close these deals out. So now I am looking at a creative postcard here.
Mm.
So these are the different filters I would put on PropStream, and I could pull up PropStream to show you all how to use it. Anybody looking to sign up for PropStream, it is a very powerful tool I use every day in my business. You can find the sellers; they're right on there. These are the different filters I would use. I'm going to show you all how to do a postcard campaign. Most of my creative deals have come off of postcards.
Wow.
58 cents. And I'm going to show you all an actual address, a real case study. So you have proof, receipts, facts, where I got the deal off of a 58-cent postcard, a duplex, $0 down, $400 a month to the seller, no interest, no credit checks. I sent this man a 58-cent postcard, and we had one lunch that took 45 minutes of my time, and I was able to take on that asset. As I said, no credit checks. This man didn't look into nothing, but I was confident. I was a real regular person. I built rapport, I built trust, And he said yes. And I've bought two properties from him now, $0 down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Zero down?
Yep, $0 down, no credit checks required, no interest. We are just structuring terms together. We're putting together that note. He is essentially the bank. Now, Don, I know you know a lot about mortgages. So we give
Yes.
that seller that mortgage. So he's
Hmm.
that mortgage holder, that note holder. Now,
Yeah.
if I do something wrong, if I stop making my payments to him, he
Hmm.
has every right to get his property back. But in the meantime, he gets the convenience of not dealing with the taxes, the toilets, the tenants.
Hmm.
I use similar filters like you all see here for him, but he is a tired landlord. He said to me, I'm just to the point where I need time with my family. I do not want to do this anymore. I love real estate, but I just don't have the time for it. He kept forgetting to pay the taxes.
Hmm.
Now, I did look on his Facebook because I'm going to teach you all about that, building rapport and getting to know somebody. But I noticed that he liked fishing and he spent a lot of time with his family.
Okay.
When we met, I brought up fishing. I said, look, I am not looking to hit the lottery here. But if I could just earn enough passive income every month that I could take a couple extra fishing trips a year with my son, I won. And he looked at me with the most serious face. He said, you like fishing? I said, yeah, I do. I knew he liked fishing because I'd already checked out his Facebook.
Wow.
And then within a few minutes, he was shaking my hand and he said, let's do it.
See,
So
Fatima is loving what you're saying. I don't know why she's not on the stage.
I Well, so filters I would use to find these kind of sellers. I would look for a property owner occupied. No, we don't want something the owner's living in. Now, occupancy status, we can do occupied. So
Hmm.
tenants are in there just because there's not you don't see tax delinquency. That doesn't mean that the landlord is happy. I like looking for ones that had an MLS date. They tried to put it on market, but it failed. So I would do failed MLS listing from
Mm.
2020 till now. I put the years of ownership, 15 years plus, because most people are usually buying between 30 and 50 years old. Add 15 years to that, they're probably pretty tired. If they've had to deal with the headaches of real estate, they might be open to an offer, especially one that provides them cash flow without any of the responsibilities. That's why it's appealing to a seller. They get,
Wow.
if a seller is desperate, because everybody's different, if they're desperate and they're in a situation where they need quick cash, this creative offer isn't going to work for them. But if they are not desperate, if they say things like, well, I don't really need to sell it. I mean, I am tired. I'm tired of dealing with the tenants. I'm tired of dealing with the taxes, but I'm not in a desperate situation. For me, the biggest smile comes on my face because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that seller that is not desperate. They don't have to sell it, but they could.
I
That
got a question right here for you, Colleen. Do they still have a mortgage on this property?
No, so I will go after the ones, see here where it says estimated equity,
Ah, I
100.
see it. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. Okay.
Now you can do ones with mortgages, but then you get more into like the subject to, which I am absolutely not qualified to teach.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to target the ones where they have full ownership. They own it free and clear because
Mm-hmm.
it just makes the math a lot easier. I can figure out, okay, let's do 360 payments. Let's do this much over this much time. And then they sign that deed over to me on the front end. I can refi if I want to. So that's something I wanted to mention, Don.
Wow,
With
that's awesome.
Yeah, because like that duplex I got,
Mm-hmm.
100% equity, talked the seller into doing 65,000. It's now worth about 150. So I could do a cash out refi if I wanted. Now, if I did do that, let's say I did a cash out refi, and I'm just throwing a number out there, but let's say I was able to get 80,000. I do not have to pay off the seller what I owe him. I am only obligated to pay him the $400 a month we agreed to.
Wait. Okay, Colleen, slow down here because this is where this is getting exciting for me. So what you're saying is I have deed in hand, all
Mhm.
right? Even though I owe the seller money, the bank looks at my deed as a paid off house that's 100% paid off, and I can take this, I own it, and now I can do a cash out refi. I can get cash that I can use to invest other places or do other things with.
Yeah,
But I don't have to pay off the seller right away.
that's correct.
Oh my gosh, I can get a deed and turn it into money.
That is correct.
And with the pill method, I can pay the bank back a fraction of the interest that they were looking for.
That is
Lord have Lord have mercy. Please keep going.
that is right. And I actually have three I have bought this way: a duplex, two single family homes, all for $0 down, all deed up front. And I've negotiated for a couple of my investors different properties on terms $0 down too. So it's absolutely possible, but you have to actually try. You got to start putting the work in to get it done. I like to look for the ones that own in their own individual name. It's going to be really easy to get their phone numbers. Absentee owner location, if you can get the ones out of state, that is great because a lot of times they don't have time to put their hands on the property or eyes. They're not able to build a strong, solid network where they can have the properties taken care of and everything runs smoothly. Out of state owners are some of my favorite, especially if they couldn't find a good property manager. And then we already covered the equity. Now, places to search, you can search on PropStream. I'll do that tutorial right after this slide. You can also look on Zillow when they are trying to put their properties up for sale by owner. You can reach out to them and see, hey, I could give you this much, but maybe it would make more sense for you to have offer number two. Cash offer is always going to be lower than the overtime terms offer. Uh, FSBO.com, FSBO.com. D for D is driving for dollars. So driving around in a neighborhood, you could do this virtually or in person, and looking for properties where there is some signs of distress. Maybe the owner is not keeping up with it or taking care of it. Maybe the tenants are being too hard on it. Now, you can look for vacant properties for this, but really you want something that is close to being turnkey, if not turnkey. And then you don't want something that's been vacant for too long, because then you run into different expenses, like you might have to upgrade the electrical, different things like that. Now, you can also find these kind of deals from realtors, agents. I did one where there was a realtor trying to sell it on the MLS. They could not. I was able to negotiate terms with the seller on a duplex. I was able to work out something with the realtor. I had to give her $1,500 towards her commission, and we were able to get the deal done. So if you see realtors out and about, make connections with them. Let them know you're a creative investor. If they ever have anything that is turnkey or close to being turnkey, that's sitting on market that they cannot move, please call you, because you might have an offer that works for their seller and you may be able to take care of them as well.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my coaches, Courtney Fricky, some of you all already know her. If you don't, look her up. Courtney Fricky, Fricke. And she's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, but she is excellent at making good relationships And she has so many realtor friends that bring her deals, and she will simply take them out to lunch, and they are just happy to have that lunch with her in exchange for getting those deals. So make those connections. Wholesalers such as myself, but there's wholesalers everywhere. If you join a lot of Facebook real estate groups, you will find them in and out of those groups there. You can reach out to them if you see them with deals that make sense for your portfolio, what you want to have. You can reach out to them and say, hey, would your seller be interested in accepting terms on this? I'd be willing to compensate you. I can negotiate the terms with your seller. We can all get on a call together. You never want to ask the wholesaler for the seller's information directly. They might take that as you're trying to take their deal. So always be open, honest, and willing to collaborate with them so they don't feel like they're getting left off the deal. Affordablehousing.com. This is a free resource. This is a website where Section 8 investors will list their rental properties. A lot of them have multiple doors. Sometimes they're buying, sometimes they're selling. So reaching out to different listings you see on there, it will have the owner's name and phone number, and just simply saying, hey, I noticed you're an investor. Are you still currently buying in this area, or are you looking to sell some? Rent.com. This is the same idea as affordablehousing.com, where they would be posting rental properties. You could go on there and reach out to them and say, yes, I'm not interested in renting, but I wanted to see if you'd be interested in selling. I know you are looking to get passive income on this, and that's what I would like to give you. But what if I could give you the passive income without you ever having to take another maintenance call in the middle of the night again?
Oh boy.
Because this is the thing, you all, when something breaks, like if you're in your personal home that you pay a mortgage on, if something breaks in the middle of the night, you can't call the bank, right? That's the beauty of being the bank. You don't have to deal with the maintenance, the headaches, the taxes, the toilets, the tenants, the three T's. So landlords, they like the idea of, you got to deal with all my headaches and I still get cash flow every month. About half is going to say, sign me up for that. But you've
Mm.
got to be able to reach out to them and shoot that shot. Word of mouth, I can get deals from referral fees, telling people, hey, I do pay for referrals. Bring me whatever deals you can. And that could work for finding deals and for finding buyers for your deals. Now, the 4 pillars of a great creative deal, it's going to be motivation, right? Why would they want to sell? And if it's a desperate reason, it's coming out of desperation, they might be better for that cash offer. But if it's not that, if it is because they are like a tired landlord or they just don't want to deal with this anymore, that could be a good reason. Condition. Again, is it a project? Is it something that's going to cost you? Right? How much is the juice worth the squeeze? What is the real condition? And don't sign anything, don't agree to anything until you've done your due diligence on this. My
Mm.
first creative deal, I got it for $0 down, 30,000 total. I got it because I solved a seller's problem. This is where it goes back to trust. You know, everybody that does this business does it differently. For me, if they know, like, and trust me, if I'm able to talk to them, if I'm able to solve a problem, I can and will get that deal. But the seller had multiple. Well, first we started with one deal. I sent him a 58-cent postcard. I got the deal under contract for a wholesale deal. And he told me he was getting fined by the city. He had collectors' cars in his front lawn.
Mm.
Kept fining him. So I'm building rapport with my seller. I said, well, that's not right. The man had health issues, had several heart attacks. I said, I'm going to call this city and let me see what I could do about this. I called downtown. I made a big deal about it. And they canceled his court dates and they canceled his tickets. When I told him this, he was so happy that I actually solved a problem for him. He said, "You know what? I know I told you I just had that one deal for you, but I got four more." Got solving
Wonderful.
the problem. Yes. So I got four more. We have five deals together now in total. Three of them I got closed out, got him paid out. One he decided to keep, and there was one left. And I said to him, and I knew about creative finance, I was nervous to shoot my shot. But I said to him, "What if I'm the buyer on this one? But it wouldn't make sense for me to give you all that money in cash because it would take me time. I would have to get it rent ready, and then it would take me time to actually be in the green. But I would buy it like this on terms. Here's the tax benefits of that." He was a smart businessman. He still is. And he said, "Okay, I'll do it." But the reason I bring up that story, because I thought the condition was better than what it was. I did not have an actual contractor walk the property before closing, and that was a major mistake.
Mm,
Verify the condition, like get a real quote on how much the work is going to be, get real licensed and insured people over there looking at the property before you close and sign the closing documents. It's good now. I have a family in there. Everything's fine. But there was like all kinds of repairs needed that I didn't anticipate. Now, the seller gave me that deal because I solved a problem for him. And he also felt like he could trust me. Once you start talking to them and you start figuring out who they are, you're opening up to them, you're opening the door up for discussion, conversation. You can start building that trust. And then the fourth pillar would be terms, because it's just because they want to do the terms or they're open to doing the terms. Do the terms make sense? This is a business. Can you cash flow? If your monthly payment that you agreed to give them is $500 a month, you have operating expenses, homeowners insurance, you got sewage, water, property management fees, taxes, all that stuff. Let's say all your operating expenses come to $1,100 a month, but you can only rent it for $1,200. Well, that's not a deal. So you got to make sure those terms make sense using a 10BII calculator. Number 10, letter B, and two I's. It is on Google Play, in the App Store. Download it. And even on these deals, you don't always have to say no money down, but I wouldn't bring up a down payment unless they do. And even then, I'm not trying to put one down if I don't have to. I like to explain it to them. Hey, this is an actual closing. I'm paying for the closing cost. I'm paying the recording cost. I'm getting the property rent ready. We typically don't do a down payment, but terms are going to be important. Do the terms make sense?
okay.
And I could do a quick example for you, Don, and you might really like this
I
because
would. I would like it. I just and just a quick question: that 10B2I calculator. When you are taking on a student, do you actually show them how to use that calculator to help them to structure a deal?
I tell everybody, yes, if I were going to do something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
I do have ACE is acquisitions construction education. I
Mm-hmm.
would be able to take the time to show them to do it. But I
Okay.
tell everybody, YouTube, how to use the 10BII calculator. It's going to take you about 5-10 minutes, but it's so good. It will help you so much when putting these terms together.
Okay.
I'm going to do a quick example, Don, that'll make your heart happy because I'm going to put some interest in there.
Come on now, come on, heart happy.
So let's say we do a property, $30,000. And if we were giving the seller cash, maybe we were only going to give him 20, but we got two offers for him. Well, Mr. Seller, I got two offers for you today. If we're doing cash, it'll be a quick 30-day close. We'll take care of the closing costs, no realtor fees, no commissions. That offer would be 18,000. But I have a second offer, and you seem too smart to take that cash offer. Would you like to hear my second offer? Yes? Okay. So the second offer would be $30,000. We'll do 3% interest. We'll do it over 240 payments, and that will pay you out a total of $39,830.40. Mr. Seller, which offer works better for you? Is it the 18,000 or the offer that pays you out closer to 39,000? So it's just
Ooh.
laying it out
Ooh.
there for them. And what
Okay.
decision, and that monthly payment is only 165, 165.96. So yeah,
And what was the interest? The interest rate was how much on that?
3%.
3%. Okay. And 240 months, that's 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you really want to do like a 30-year term, but if it's
Mm-hmm.
a low amount like that, you could do a 10. You could do 10 or 20.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So identifying the right deal. You got to consider what those real estate goals are. What is the condition? Is it a pass or keep? Remember, we're passing on the ones that are big projects, and we could turn them into cash offers and make some wholesale money, but it's not something you want to keep for your personal portfolio. Does the price make sense? Just because they're open to terms does not mean you got to overpay. Well, I learned many things from Courtney, but one thing that I'll never forget is that you can get properties on wholesale prices on terms. So don't think just, paying over time means pay them more. You can absolutely get that property at a discount. My seller at the duplex originally wanted 100K, but I got him down to 65 total. Does the terms make sense? We talked about operating costs and expenses, knowing how much money you need to put out every month for that property to operate. Does that monthly payment make sense? Are you going to have cash flow there? And or is it going to be too tight? Because I don't consider $200 a month cash flow enough room. Like you need more spread there. That's
Mm-hmm.
too tight. Something breaks, you got too much to fix. No, you need more spread there. What is the PITI? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. How much is that going to be every month? What is the other cost that you got to factor in? Are you going to be doing pest control? How much is the property management usually in that area? What are you looking at for water, sewage? But these are all things you need to factor in. Are you taking on a job? Remember, we don't want to take on jobs. We don't want projects. We don't want headaches. We want weekends with our children. We want to be happy and stress free. And you can't get that taking on a full gut rehab. What is your seller's motivation, right? What is the real reason they would be interested in selling? And location, location, location. Listen, just because you got a seller in Philly open to terms does not mean you should start building a portfolio there. Is it a landlord friendly area? I'll tell you the difference. Philly, it is not landlord friendly. It is the wild, wild west. If you have to do an eviction, the city basically said you're on your own. Hire your own personal security and try to work it out. Guess what? People started to get shot. Now, up in Northumberland County, where I invest at, super landlord friendly area. An eviction costs $210 and it takes 30 days. And they are siding with that landlord unless that person's a complete slumlord and the tenant has actually been paying. But other than that, they are getting that tenant out of there in 30 days or less. So know the difference between landlord friendly and not landlord friendly areas. That's the
Okay. So we have a question here from Ms. Mastermind, and I'm putting it on the screen here. It says, I want to know, how do we cash flow off of this by an amount that's worth it? Maybe I don't see how because I'm in Florida, but I guess I can start this in other states, but she's not sure. So anybody who wants to come into Clubhouse and ask questions, just open up the mic and ask a question. And if you want to come into our studio here, I can paste the link so you can come into our studio on Clubhouse. I'm sorry, on YouTube as well. But can you handle that question right quick?
Yes. So that is a great question. And I want to say this. Everybody's amount is going to be different. There's investors that are okay with the $200 a month cash flow. For me, I feel like it needs to be 500 or more for it to make sense. Because again, if something breaks, you got to deal with that. And you also want to be putting that money, whatever profits you're making, especially in that first year. And I know some people are like, well, what am I doing this if I can't hold on to the profits? In the beginning, while you're building, if you don't have a bunch of money put to the side, you need to build up your reserves. So that way, when something breaks on that property, you have that money in the reserves and you could pay for that repair, and it's not going to hurt you. It's okay. The other thing is, you can also, well, I'll save that more towards the end, but you can negotiate discounted payments. So being able to say to a seller at closing, hey, if I were to pay you for the next year in advance, would that be helpful for you? Like instead of doing a down payment. Oh, I don't usually do down payments, but what I could do is pay you for the next year in advance. I can give you 10 payments if you'd be willing to knock off 12 for me. How does that sound? Giving me
What?
that at a discount. They call it
What?
the second
So
bite of the apple. I
okay, help me understand that again. Can you run that back, please?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
called the second bite of the apple. I learned it from Leon Johnson, who is a legend at creative finance. I
Okay.
mean, he is really good. But saying to a seller, hey, if it would help you, what if I paid you up for the next year? I give you 10 payments. Would you knock off 12 for me? Or if I gave you 9 payments, would you be willing to knock off 12 if I gave you that in advance? I've done this multiple times now. They love it.
Wow.
They
So
love it.
so you get 12 months, but you only pay for 10
Yeah. 10
up
or 9. Yep.
up front.
Yep.
Wow. And
Oh,
some
yeah.
people will jump on that.
Oh yeah, I got a seller right now that is in need of some money, and we're going back and forth negotiating. He might allow me to give him just a little amount of cash and sign off on that note and say we're done. So let's say I still owe him 50,000 on the duplex. He's
Hmm.
ready to take 10 to 15 because he needs some quick cash and then done with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
For a whole year. So you have to worry about sending out some
No,
payments.
no, he's ready to take a buyout of 10 to 15,000
Oh,
and just be, I won't have to pay him the remaining 50 some that I owe him.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is offer.
Gotta keep checking in with them. I offered I said, well, I have a little extra cash and I could give you some, I'm not rich here, but
Hmm.
I could give you something. Would this help? But yeah, you got to offer. But the question for her, I would say look at your market first. If you're looking to do it out of state, do you have a strong network in place? Because if
Hmm.
you don't have good, reliable contractors and property managers, investing out of state could hurt you. So I want you to look at your network first. If you do want to do it out of state, start building that up. But the question of how much should you be looking to cash flow every month, it's going to be different for everyone. Every location is going to be different. How much you can receive in rent is going to be different. How much the taxes are, but what feels comfortable for you. I would try to shoot for 500 at least per month.
For cash flow.
Yeah, if you
All
can,
right.
that would
All
be
right. Excellent. So what about the paperwork on a deal like that? Will I be able to learn the paperwork and have the proper learn how to use the set up the paperwork correctly?
Yeah, so you can actually use the same purchase agreement in this that you use for wholesaling, but in
Mhm.
the additional notes, that's where you're going to set the terms.
Ah,
You know, 50,000 over 240 payments of, and these are the terms: if I'm late more than 30 days, seller has the right to foreclose on the property and work on getting their property back. If this is not done, I sell some of mine this way
Mm-hmm.
because of the convenience, because I don't want to deal with the work or the headaches. And I set really strict terms. So figuring out what those terms will look like will be between each person and the seller. But then the note will be, I have the title companies put it together.
Ah,
So
okay.
they can actually do that.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll just say to them, this is a seller financing deal with the seller being the note holder. Here are the terms. They're in this agreement here. Can you prepare a note for us? Now, some people will not record that note. You could just get it, notarized. You hold on to it. And you keep that private between you and that seller. They have their copy. If they need to do a foreclosure, they can. Some people will record it, but that's going to be up to you. But saying yes to the wrong deal will cost you more than money. I need people to understand this part, because I would hate for people to take on that first deal and it's so big of a project that it's costing you your sanity. So please understand, it's okay to say no. The stress of a bad creative deal can be overwhelming. I mean, I got gray hairs behind my first one, and hearing all the different things pop up that needed to be repaired, spending all this money I just didn't anticipate on. It was definitely not a good feeling. If the property requires the major rehab pass, you want something that can easily cash flow. Minor repairs and upgrades are okay as long as the numbers make sense. If it's going to take you months to get rent ready, pass. Just because the seller is open to terms does not make it a good deal. Avoid costly headaches by having an inspection done before you close on any property, and get used to saying no, and do not think you need to overpay for that property. You can get it at a wholesale price. Now, this slide is about structuring the terms. So we'll go over that right now, and I'll try to get through it in a timely fashion. But 60 payments is 5 years. Now, we want to say payments versus years, because it sounds better to the seller. I can do 15,000 cash, or we could do 50,000 over 240 payments. How does that sound?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they hear over 20 years, some sellers are going to push back. Oh, that's too long. That's too long a time. Now, you don't want to give them a short term, because the shorter the term, the higher the monthly payments will be. The longer the term, the lower it will be. So you want to figure out that sweet spot for your deal. Now, if your deal is over $100,000, you want to do 360 payments. Anything under 100,000, you could do a little bit less. But again, the numbers have to make sense.
Okay.
What is the problem? Oh, wait, let me go here. So 60 payments is 5 years. 120 payments is 10 years. We got 180 payments is 15 years. 240 payments is 20 years, and then 360 payments is 30 years.
So if I structure a deal like this, all right, for let's say the 240 payments, and then everything is going along smooth for like the first year or two, could I just come back and say, you know what? Why don't I offer you this, maybe a lower amount, and just cash that thing out? Is that an option?
Yes, you could do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All
And
right.
this is the beauty of working with the seller and making the seller the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love, to be able to negotiate with a real person and not an institution.
Mm-hmm.
We can negotiate whatever we like. Sometimes sellers, maybe there's some back taxes on there. I can negotiate that in. I did that with the duplex. Hey, at the time of closing, I know you have 1,200 in back taxes you owe. I could take care of that for you. Would you be willing to knock off 5 payments for me? Would you be willing to knock off this many? But yeah,
Mm,
to go direct to them and negotiate.
wow. Look at you. Look at you.
I
Who
learned
knew?
that from Courtney Fricky and Leon Johnson. So grateful for their coachings.
All right. I'm loving this already. Listen, this is going to be one of our most popular shows with the most replays. I just know it. Everybody who is listening to right now, tell your friends about this show. Tell them about investing with Colleen. And then you also want to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more content just like this and share the replays with other people. Okay, Colleen, you're back on.
Yep. Thank you, Don. So, what is the problem that you can solve for the seller? Why would the seller accept terms? Is it the convenience? Is it the tax reasons? And everybody look into IRS publication 537. Write that down, have that ready to go, have a link you could send them because it is the IRS's breakdown of why this is better for them tax wise. Right? They might not believe you, but will they believe the IRS? It is called an installment sale. But why would they want to accept terms and structuring terms so everyone is happy? Why would a seller accept terms? Convenience, right? They don't have to deal with the taxes, toilets, or tenants, but they get that cash flow. Tax benefits, IRS publication 537 goes over that. For their heirs, maybe they want to pass down that passive income. And for passive income, simply having cash flow. Every month they get that payment, but they don't have to put out maintenance fees and cost. Closing the deal, have the proper paperwork in order. I know Don was just speaking about that. Clear communication with the seller. Always got to be open and honest with them. Have that homeowner's insurance ready to go on closing day. Anything can happen to that property, and whether or not it is standing, you will have to be making those payments every month. So it would be terrible if, a week after closing, something bad happened to that property. You still got to make those payments. So have that homeowner's insurance in place. You will be paying the closing cost. For the $65,000 duplex, it cost me about $3,500. Do keep that in mind. You are getting the deed. This is a real closing. You are a buyer, not a beggar, right? You are getting this deed in your company name, and you will be paying those closing costs. Have a plan and a timeline in place. What's the plan? We're not just winging it in real estate. Is the plan to flip it? Is the plan to hold it? Are you going to upgrade it? Are you going to refi it? What are you doing with this property? How long is it going to take you to put a tenant in there? Have that timeline in place. Offering 12 for 10. We just talked about that. Second bite of the apple, as taught by Leon Johnson, legend in creative financing and real estate in general. Second bite of that apple. Does it help them if you made 10 payments in advance? Could they knock off 12? Always be negotiating. My seller, the one that I got the duplex from, and just last year I got a tenant occupied single family from, both this way. We just had a conversation yesterday. He has more properties that he is thinking about selling on terms with me. If it would help him, he would do it. So we're talking about that, and we're talking about, maybe I'll pay him for this one. I'll pay for a year in advance. 9 payments, he'll knock off 12. Like, have that communication open. Be sure to pay your seller on time every month. This guy that just gave me the tenant occupied property would not be doing so if I was late with my payments with the duplex. If anything, I'm early because I'll pay him in advance. So that's something they'll remember, and they'll be willing to work with you on other deals too. We do not make promises we cannot keep. Okay. You do not want to be out here telling sellers, sign me over your deed. I'm going to pay you every month. and then you don't do what you're supposed to do, and now they need to pay for a foreclosure, and you get that bad reputation. Listen, I would pay, and I've heard Courtney say this first, and I second it because I feel the same way. I would pay my seller every month before I made my car payment. Like if I had to choose between my baby Pearl out there and paying my seller, guess what? Buy Pearl. I have to keep my word and pay my seller on time every month.
Right.
Do all your due diligence before closing. I don't want any excuses, and sorry for this typo right here, but I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, I didn't know," and now I have to pay for this, I have to pay for that. You should know that on the front end, and it's okay to pass on the deal because you realize that it needed too much work. That's okay. You will get another one.
Okay.
Use a title company that is familiar with seller financing.
There you go. That
Yep.
part right there. That part right there, because not all of them are. I listen. I've actually done a deal, and the title company that we use was familiar with this type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So
So this is the duplex here, you all, that I got off of a 58-cent postcard. This is the actual address of the property. It is fully rented out. It actually looks a little bit better now. I did some just minor things here. It didn't need anything major. But motivation tired landlord, purchase price $65,000. Down payment $0, interest 0%, monthly payment $400 per month. Traditional rents. Now, I did think I was going to get about 12. 2,000 total here. I'm getting 18. So I'm not getting 2,000 right now. With the tenants I have in there, I'm getting 18, but I'm still able to cash flow just above $1,100 a month off of this property
wow.
every single month. Yeah. And I always have tenants in here. One just moved out because his lease was up and he was in the downstairs unit and he's moved into a bigger place. But within 30 days, my property manager had a new tenant in place. So being able to cash flow $1,100 a month. And I bought this property with a promise, $0 down, direct to seller. I just shot my shot. I sent out a postcard. That I love the postcards. I'm going to show you all how to do them in a minute here. It's the postcards are great for introverts too. If there's any introverted folks listening, you don't have to cold call all day. You don't have to communicate with a lot of people. You target the people I showed you to target, send out the postcards, and if they are interested in selling, they're going to give you a call, and then you're going to give them two offers. You're going to give them your cash offer, and then you're going to give them the overtime offer, and you're going to see which one works best for them. We're not forcing this on anyone. We are not beggars. We're buyers, and we're going to shoot our shot. And for me, talking to this landlord here, seller, it was easy to say, listen, if I were to give you, because he really wanted the 100K, if I were to give you $100,000 today and pay closing costs, it would take me years before I'm in the green. I got to freshen the place up, get the tenants inside. And if they're only paying this much every month, how long would it take me before I'm in the green? That just doesn't make sense for me. But I would buy it this way. You no longer will have to deal with the maintenance. You will no longer have to deal with the headaches, the taxes. I'll take care of that. I'll even pay the back taxes you owe. We'll negotiate that into the deal and pay you a year in advance. So yeah, y'all, this is that's it on that. But let me do you want me to show them how to do the postcards on PropStream?
Please.
Okay, all right. Let me get logged in there. No problem. I love teaching this part. I love doing the postcards. The first $15 I put into postcards. Oh, what's this coming up? Something's coming up here. I made $36,000, y'all. First $15 I put into PropStream to be able to send out postcards. I got a $36,000 return off of that. So postcards are definitely beneficial. It's an easy way to get deals. We'll use the right filters so you all can target or see how to target some tired landlords. Let me see why my prop
While you're
stream's not
setting that,
coming up.
while you're setting that up, Colleen, I've got some folks on the stage. If you have a question, open your mic, ask your question. I got Fatima, I got Kenny, I got Credit Goddess, I got Sean, I got Don Daniel. Oh. So anybody have a question? Raise your hand. Come on up while we're setting up the next example. And while you're doing that, also, I'm not getting any questions, but I think it's time for a quick commercial. I do have a question here from Miss Mastermind. Oh, and somebody just came into the studio. All right, and while you're doing that, we're going to add her to the stage. All right. And hold on for a second. Let me turn this banner off. Okay. Turn that off. There we go. All right. Let's add her to the stage. Miss Richards. How are you doing, Miss Richards?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Did you have a quick question?
I did. Sorry, I was trying to type, do the voice to text. Uh,
That doesn't always work because I don't
yeah,
quite understand it.
yeah, I was driving. So I was asking, is there any benefit into just refining the property and paying it off so you don't have to continue with that?
I mean, you could if you wanted to, but if you could refi and use that money for other investments, why not continue to pay them the $400 or $300 a month?
Okay,
You
that
know,
makes sense. It
because I,
makes
I
sense.
thought I thought it would be good to do that too, but some of my coaches said no, you want to pay them out over time and keep it cash flowing like that. But you could do it like right now. I'm about to give that one seller a chunk, a small chunk compared to what I owe him, but just to be done. And then I would own it completely free and clear, no mortgage attached to it.
Wow. Miss Richards, does
I
that
think I
answer your
lost
question?
you. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, good. Where are you tapping
Did we
in from,
lose
Miss
you?
Richards?
Miss Richards, can you hear us?
I think I lost you for a second, or I don't know if you stopped talking.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, I
She
can hear you. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
yep, you're good. Loud
Yeah,
and
I don't know
clear.
what happened. You went out. You went
Oh,
out
so
for
for
a
the
second
last
on
for
me.
the last piece of that, could you repeat the last piece of that, Colleen?
Oh yes. What did I say there? I'm so sorry. Oh, where are you tapping in from?
Mhm.
Florida.
Oh, okay, nice. And are you looking to build your portfolio down there?
Um, Really, I don't care where it's at because cost of real estate here is so high. So that's why I
Okay.
didn't really understand. Like how am I supposed to do this? Real estate is so high here. Cost to acquire it is here. I mean,
So let's ask the question this way:
uh,
Can we find deals even in Florida?
That's what I was going to say. What part of
what?
Florida?
Uh,
Which part?
Tampa.
Tampa. Okay, let's put Tampa. Can you see my screen on prop stream? Oh, why did
Let's
it take
see.
me off there? I'm trying to
Yes,
type
I
it.
can see. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, John,
Yeah.
every time I start to type in Tampa, it takes me off of the screen. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Well, we're seeing
Because it's saying stay out zone.
What does it say?
Stay out zone.
Stay out
Because
of Tampa.
because everything is like 300 to over $1 million.
Oh, okay. So
Crazy.
maybe not the best for a landlord friendly area. Maybe that's more for where homeowners want to live, but not a tenant area. But I'm sure you live close to an area where there's a lot of renters. Is there any area near you like that?
Actually, yeah. So I was trying to type in the chat. So I was the property that I just started renting. I was gonna try to buy it just because it's in the like low 100s. And I was like, well, maybe I can buy this. But when all my deductions and all that stuff come to taxes, it's just like and other stuff. So I tried to do seller financing, and he wanted like 50K down,
Too.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
there is a HOA. It's $550 a month, and so he's charging me 1550 a month.
Okay.
I do know that he did mention, because we did have a conversation, that he kind of say like he kind of got stuck on the deal, if that makes sense. I don't know exactly what happened, but he said that along our conversation. So I'm just like, I wonder what happened. Regarding this deal when he purchased the property. He purchased two of the properties where I'm at. So when I came across you saying how you can acquire it, I was just like, maybe this is a way I can acquire this property, but now I don't even know if it's worth acquiring the property. I know a lot of the history on it because I have lived in this neighborhood for about 8 years prior to now, but with an HOA being at 550,
Yeah. So
I
this now could work. You could do it for acquiring your own property, but with the 60,000 down, that's way too much. Like if it's 100,000 or under 200,000 and he wants 60 down, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. I would tell him, no, that's not going to work. I would be willing to do this much, like
mm,
5,000 down or nothing down at all, because you're taking on the property, right? So you're taking on any responsibility with it. You would be taking over the taxes and everything. This would be more, and then with the HOA fee being so high, I can't see that working as a rental where you can cash flow.
Quick question, Colleen.
Yeah.
Would you
okay.
advise taking the information you get from this show today and try to jump into this type of real estate transactions? Would you recommend that?
I recommend everybody figures out where they want to invest at.
Okay.
So figuring out, if that's Cleveland, Ohio, do you have the network you need to actually invest there and do deals where you'll be able to cash flow comfortably? Like you can get the properties rented out, you can get them up to code, you could do all those things. If you don't have the network in place, if you don't have the goals written out, if you don't have the reason why, you don't have the direction, the plan in place, no, I wouldn't advise them to do it.
Okay. So if there's not enough information here to get started, do you recommend getting a coach to help them along?
They could get a coach, yes.
Okay.
To get
Okay.
a coach to help them out. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you all, can they see my screen here?
Yes. So
Prop-
we can
oh,
see your prop
And
screen.
I hope that helped with her question. I hope
Yeah.
that helped. Okay. So I have played with different filters here. This is a zip code here in well, not here, but this is in Ohio. I'm
Okay.
looking at properties where the owner lives out of state. It's owned in their individual name. They've owned it for at least 15 years and they own it probably free and clear. They have at least 80% equity. So
Okay.
here is an example. Let's look at this one.
All right. I'm not seeing the screen change.
Okay. How about now? Do you see 2298 East 100th Street?
No, we're seeing a map of looks like Florida.
No,
Hmm.
Florida.
Let me see. Stop sharing.
Okay.
How do I share again?
Okay, go down to present. Click there. All
I
right.
don't see present anywhere.
It's down at the bottom of the screen underneath our
Okay.
pictures.
See it. Got it.
Yep. And then do full screen and then choose which screen you want.
Okay. I think it was this one. Okay.
Okay, it's coming back now.
Yep. So this is the filters here. So this is PropStream, you all. It is on my Instagram in the bio. There's a link for a free trial. And I put in the zip code in Ohio.
Okay.
I put it to individually owned. So you can scroll down. You can look at the ownership information
Hmm.
right down here. Years of ownership, 15 years or more. So they're getting to that point where they could start to be a little tired. Ownership location out of state. I was able to get the list down to 60, 60 different properties. And if I clicked on these, it would take me to a separate page. But you want to be able to save this list. So clicking here and then clicking add to list, create a new list, give it a name. So let's do Cleveland. Oh, it keeps taking me off the screen. Anytime I start typing in there, I don't know why that is.
Okay. I don't know either.
Let me try it this way.
Okay.
So click save once you have that name for it.
Okay.
And
There it is. I see there. I see.
yeah, then go over to campaigns, select a new campaign. You're going to give it a campaign name, whatever the name was that you saved it under.
Mhm.
Find it on this list. I'm just going to select anything because I have so many different ones on here, but let's just select this one.
Okay.
And then click view selected receipts. Actually, I was supposed to just click save.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, give it a second to load.
I see. I see. Okay.
Save.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go to campaign dashboard. We will click next on postcard. I think it took me over to the next page. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it does that.
Well, it
Okay.
could.
Let's
Okay.
Campaign dashboard. I'm clicking on it and it's opening up somewhere else. So
Okay.
let me click.
If we need to, if it's opening up on another screen, we can just share that. We can just go over and share that screen.
Okay, hold on. I gotta close down all these tabs now.
Or you can pull that screen over.
Okay. Let me see if I could get this one sharing.
Okay. It's live TV, folks. It's live TV. I love it.
Okay, here we go. And
All
then
right,
click on postcard.
Let me
And
put that. I'm gonna
take
put
it
that up.
over
All right.
to another screen. I tried to pull it over to that screen, but it's not
Okay.
doing it.
All right. That's okay.
All right.
When we need to change, we'll do that.
Okay, this will be the last.
Okay.
Share.
Share, and then I'll put it up for you.
Okay, and then here you would go over to edit or print and mail.
Mm-hmm.
And you would pick out the different postcards that you want, but it says error. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not just going the way it should, but
Okay.
yeah, right on PropStream, you all. That's how you would do the postcard tutorial.
Okay.
They have different postcards you could pick between. The next screen would show us all the different postcards. You're just going to go with a general one, reaching out to you about your property, and PropStream will send it out to each seller. It will send it to their mailing address where they actually live at, and it'll have your name and information on there as well.
So you just put in the filters.
Yes.
And it'll say, okay, I've got this seller with at least 15 years in, blah, 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 blah. And then PropStream will print the postcard and then send them out to each address.
Yep, it'll send it to each seller's mailing address.
Wow.
They
And
live
they'll charge you accordingly.
Yep. It's like about 54 cents now per postcard.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's really cool. It's good. And then on prop stream, you can, I wish it wasn't every time I click on something, it's
Hmm.
opening up another tab. But on
Okay.
prop stream, you do have the option to see vacant properties, properties with liens. These are forms of motivation. You can
Hmm.
also see all the cash buyers in the area. You could play with the filters and look for the ones that own multiple doors, that have
Hmm.
owned for at least 15 years. They can be some tired landlords, so there's some opportunity there with that. Um,
Okay.
yeah, that is it.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Wow. That is awesome, Colleen. Well, thank you very much for everything that you've been sharing with us today. Do we have any other questions? So,
We know.
all right. Do you have any other slides or anything else you need to share with us today? Because this is awesome.
Nope, that's it. That's everything. Thank you so much for listening in. I really do appreciate it.
Wow. Listen, I got a quick commercial. Hang in there for us for just a second, Colleen, and then I'm going to ask you some additional questions here, but I just want to play a quick commercial and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, folks. Now we're going to be talking about how we can use AI in a situation where we've done a deal like Colleen was talking about, and then we've got a paid off property that the seller is selling on owner financing. So they're the bank, but we have the deed. And now we're going to take that deed, trot it over to our trustee bank and say, listen, I want to cash out refi. Okay. So now I've got some cash and I'm going to put it on the screen here, Colleen, and we're going to talk so you can kind of talk us through that part. Would you please? And if you would help me.
Sorry, would you want me to talk you through cash? I've never refied one.
Well, that's okay. I just need the numbers.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to take this off the screen and we're going to put this on. Okay. And we're going to put an amortization schedule on, and I'm going to just have you help me with that. So now I have a property. All right. And then I want to, would it be say that I can get like, is it reasonable that I could get like 80% on a
Yeah.
property? Okay. So that would be an $80,000 loan. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm putting that on the screen, 80,000. Okay. And I'm going to get an interest rate right now. It's going to be at least 7%. All right. And I may be able to get, get a 30-year mortgage on that. So I got 80,000. All right. And my payment on that is 532.24. Okay. 532.24. I need you all to see this right now. Do you see how this breaks down where the principal is 65.57 and the amount that's going to interest is 466.67. Now, here is what we're talking about, Colleen. Everything is cash flowing, everything is working well. But a lot of real estate investors that I've talked to saying, Don, listen, the tenant is making these payments. And so I'm making what 10% cash on cash return or whatever they're making. Why would I do anything with this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, well, if you're doing that, did you know that if you make this payment here, All right. You make the first payment, and the next payment is $65.96 going to principal. You could prepay that. You don't have to wait. You can prepay that, and you don't have to pay this interest. So each month a payment is made, you are growing your equity by $65, $66, $66, but your payment is getting discounted by over $400 a month. Now, once we start looking at it that way, I'm getting the equity out of the rent the people have given me to pay the mortgage. All right. But the rent that they're giving me is getting discounted severely. What if I decided I wanted to just prepay, just give the bank money on top of my payment one month, just $65.96? I don't have to pay that $466.28 in interest. I get that $65.96 for free. I don't have to pay any interest to get that equity. How does that sound, Colleen?
That sounds amazing.
All right. So if we can do this, I'm going to put my calculator on the screen because we can kind of figure ROI on that. So if I invest $65.96 so that I don't have to pay interest, there are a couple of ways to increase profits, folks. You can raise your prices, or you can decrease expenses to increase profits. Do you understand that? Okay. So if I don't have to pay $466.28 in interest, and I'm going to put in $65.96 to get it. So I'm going to divide that by $65.96. Okay. And then when I get the answer, I multiply it by 100. Okay. So now I'm going to multiply this by 100. That's how we figure ROI. That is a 706% return on my money.
Oh, wow.
I took $65.96 out of my reserve fund, put it on the mortgage principal directly. That means that's $466 I don't have to pay in interest to get the same thing. That's 706% return all day. Real estate investors are overlooking this big time once they have a mortgage on the property. So do I need to take money away from investing further? No, go ahead and continue to invest. And we can show you how to use small amounts of your money that you have in reserve to save this kind of interest. But Don, if we keep doing this, will I deplete my reserves? No, you will not. You know why? Here's why. Because you have a certain amount of your rents that are going into the reserve anyway. Okay, so you have a certain amount, a certain percentage. So whatever you use out of the reserves, then you just wait until it's put back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you just wait until it's put back. So now, how much do I pay at any given time? That is the thing. That is where we come in, because you don't have to do any guessing. You can put all of your properties into our AI system, and it will tell you exactly what to pay, when to pay, what month to pay it in, what day of the month to pay it on, and which property to attack. So now that what you want to do is, I can get my equity now 5 to 7 times faster, meaning you can get equity at a much lower interest cost and cash out refi again on this property 10 to 15 years sooner. What? Not you have to wait a long time to build up that equity again. No, 10 to 15 years sooner. If I can redeploy that cash 10 to 15 years sooner, that's more years I can gain compound interest, because I've learned how not to pay the bank that interest. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to see this, okay? So my tenant is going to give me, my tenant is going to give me $532.24 a month, whatever my rent is. Okay. But this is how much I have to pay the bank. All right. So now out of that, what I'm paying the bank is $532.24. All right. So we're going to put this in here, $532.24. All right. We're going to multiply that by 12. This is what, out of the monies my tenant has given me, I've just given the bank $6,386.88 in the year. But out of that money, only $812.64 has gone to pay down the loan. Now, even if my tenant is giving me the money to do this, is this a good deal? Do you think, Colleen, that I paid the bank $6,300 of the money my tenant gave me, but I will only realize a gain of $812 out of that?
No.
Yeah, okay. So if I'm going to give them, if I see that I can give them in 1 year, that's all the principal payments added up, $812. Do I have to give them $812 over 12 monthly installments? Or if I had it, could I give it to them all at once?
Give it to them all at once.
I gave it to them all at once. Now, this is similar to the friend that you told me, listen, let me pay you 10 and I get 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give you the $812 up front, Mr. Banker. Okay. $812 up front. And guess what? I'm paid down to line 12 on my amortization schedule, and I don't have to give you $5,000 in interest to do it.
Right. So that does make sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So now that now that people understand this, can we, as real estate investors, can we justify now giving the bank $6,000 just to increase our equity by $800.12? We can't justify that anymore.
Nope.
No, not when I can give them $812 up front, pay down the loan to right here anyway. So let's take a look at that. I got an $80,000 loan, ladies and gentlemen, 80,000. Let's put this in the calculator. I need you to understand this. 80,000. We're going to subtract $812.64. That's the amount that went to principal. 800 minus $812.64. Okay, equals $79,187.36. That's right here. It's the same amount. So you can pay them over 12 months to get here and give them $5,574 in interest to do that. Or you can give this to them in 1 month and be paid down to here and save all that interest.
Oh, wow.
Does that make sense, Colleen?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. This is the piece that we're adding to this. So I'm going to pull up here while we're talking. I'm going to pull up the program that does all of this, and I'm going to give you an example that will blow your socks off. And then we're going to be done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Colleen, I want to thank you for coming in. And while I'm pulling this up, tell the folks how they can get a hold of you and what you can do for them while I'm getting this example up.
Oh, absolutely. I am on Instagram, Investing with Colleen, Colleen. Every Thursday, I'm inside the Mortgage Syndicate Real Estate Cafe right here on Clubhouse. I'm also a teacher in MITS Community, the 9 to 5 Flipping Houses Masterclass, where we do all things wholesaling. And I love being a teacher in that community. Once a month, I teach for 4 nights in a row, the live class. The link to join that community, you get all things wholesaling, you get the contracts, you get everything you need. It's all in one place. That link is in my bio on Instagram. I also have another community. The link is in my bio for that, where I cover tax sales, how to acquire from tax sales, and how to sell on terms. So you can buy properties for $2,800, $3,100 and you could sell them for $45,000 at 3% interest over time, where you're getting payments and you get to be the bank and you don't have to deal with the taxes, the tenants, or any of the headaches. But that is inside of ACE. You get 4 different instructors. You get myself on acquisitions. I'm teaching you about wholesaling, tax sales, creative acquisitions, going direct to sellers. I have live seller calls in there, how to have those conversations, what things to cover, how to do the contracts. I go over that as well. You get these pre-recorded videos from me, 10 days of training. And then once you acquire the property, do you know how to properly renovate it? And even if you aren't doing the renovations, if you're overseeing those renovations, would you know what to look for to make sure they're doing the right job and you're not getting ripped off? You get 10 days of renovations covered by Demetrius Bell, who owns his own construction company. He has over 20 years experience. And he really takes you through these rehabs so you know what to look for. Then you get 10 days of landlording covered by my good friend Kirk the Bank Barnes. Whether you want to do short-term rentals, mid-term, or long-term, whether you want to do Airbnb or traveling nurses, or you want to do Section 8 rentals. Kirk breaks down all the landlording in and outs and rules. He goes over his leases, how to market, how to find these different tenants, how to find the nurses for the traveling nurses. And then on top of that, you have 15 days by Ash Johnson. We call her the VA Slayer. She is teaching you how to, I love that. She's teaching you how to do virtual assistant staffing. So to hire other people to run your business for you. So if you're looking for those wholesale deals, how to hire and fire cold callers, how to onboard them. You can get people to run your business for as low as $3 per hour. There is nobody better than Ashley Johnson when it comes to virtual assistant staffing. So you get all that in a private community. You get direct access to the 4 instructors, all this for $497. And it's like one of the only places people can reach me. So if you
$497?
Yes, that
One
is
time a month.
no, one time total. That's it.
What?
It's a monthly fee, nothing like that. Yep. Just
Are you kidding me?
Nope, that is it.
I would pay $497 a month.
No, oh, thank you, Don. That is so nice. But no, it's just a one-time payment of the $497.
Oh my goodness, folks. And listen, I don't have to spend hours and hours on YouTube trying to figure this out for myself. I got all this in place for $497.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, Colleen, listen, I want to thank you for being here, but and listen, folks, take advantage of the situation. But I have something on the screen here I want to show you all, and this is our opportunity cost calculator. This is the AI that does everything. All you do is you plug in how much money you're making and your expenses, and then the program is designed to do one thing very well. Make sure you pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible on your loans. Now, Colleen, as far as you're concerned, when I'm getting a property, and I'm getting a mortgage on that, most people are trying to get the best interest rate they can, correct?
That is correct.
They're also trying to buy that property and pay the least amount of money for the property. They're trying to get it under market, aren't they?
Yes, Don. Yeah.
Okay. But guess what they aren't doing? Once they finally get the loan on it, they're not trying to reduce their overall cost of borrowing the money. They're looking just at the interest rate and stopping there. Okay. Yeah. So here's what I need you to see. There's 10 properties in here. And our program has calculated that there's $2,947,500 worth of loans on that property. Mm-hmm. Our program is going to show you how to save $1,372,960 worth of interest on those properties that you will not have to pay.
Wow.
$1,372,000 in interest you don't have to pay.
That's crazy.
And you don't have to sacrifice any of the funds you have earmarked to invest already. So you keep on investing the way you have been. We're going to show you how to use dormant funds to accomplish this goal. So I'm going to cut all this short. I want to show you how the program. So when we are going through that, we just tell the program, I've received my $15,000 in rents. Okay. I'm putting money away in savings. This says put some of this money away in savings, and I pay mortgage number 6. I pay mortgage number 8, and we're just making the minimum payments, Colleen. Pay mortgage number 3. Just keep just making the minimum payments, pay your bills. All right. But in this next month, with the money that the small amounts of money we're putting away to attack debt, this is what we're doing. We're going to pay off this Visa card that we're using. We're going to pay that off to 0. We have a HELOC, all right, that we're going to pay to 0. And we're going to put, after we make the minimum payment on mortgage number 9, we're also going to put on principal out of our reserve fund $1,942.19. All right, small amount of money. Okay, I still have plenty of money in reserve, but I want you to see what happens when I put this exact amount, $1,942.19, on principal of mortgage number 9. We get to see that that's going to save me $23,207 worth of interest I never have to pay.
Wow.
In other words, if we pay the bank the way they want to get paid, by the time I paid that mortgage down, paid the principal down by $1,942.19, I have also given the bank $23,207 in interest to accomplish the same goal. If I choose to follow this program, I can give them that money up front and not pay the $23,000. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's listening, can anybody justify giving the bank $23,000 when I don't have to?
No.
If all I want to do is pay the loan down by $1,900?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So, Colleen, you've heard me talk about this for years now, but has this ever been so clear?
This has never been so clear.
Oh my gosh.
This is amazing, Don. And then you have it all right there.
Yeah.
So it gets done for them.
It's done for you. You get the software. You get a coach that's going to help you to determine what is the best strategy for you. We don't put you in a box. You get to say, here's what I want to accomplish, and our coaches will walk you through how to do this. So it's not just the software. It's also financial education that has been totally left out of our real estate education, of our education on how to understand how loans actually work. How loans work, Colleen, how they work now, all started in 1936. And not one shred of education is out there teaching us how to take advantage of these loans. We use mortgages, credit cards, student loans, car loans, HELOCs, business loans, hard money loans, but none of us have ever learned how the formula that amortizes these loans work, and where the weakness is, where we can take advantage of paying the bank pennies on the dollar for the use of that money.
Wow.
So here's the other thing I want to point out before we go. If the property is cash flowing, we're making plenty of money and we're cool with that. Even though we have to pay the bank $1,372,000 in interest we don't need to pay them. Okay, we're still making money. Okay, But what if we didn't have to pay them the $1 million? The $1,300,000 is not the real problem here, Colleen. The real problem is this: the money that money will never make for you.
Right.
If you have to spend the 1.3 million on interest, you can't also invest it. What if I could get my property, and acquire all my property at $1,300,000 discount? Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
That's how you need to look at this. All 10 properties I get to acquire, and I don't have to give the bank 1.3 million in interest. I'm going to end up, and the program will also tell you how much interest do you have remaining. So I can pay them $1,665,000 in interest, but what they want the $1,665,000 that I'm going to end up paying, and the 1.3 million over here. They want both. I think that's kind of greedy.
Yeah.
Even though we're cash flowing, even though we're making money, we can save this 1.3 million and put it to work for us. Here's the other thing I want to show you. All right. I want to show you something in reports here. We're going to take a look at net worth here. Scroll down here and the program is calculating here. All right. And then I want to look at wealth accumulation. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be, I can pay this off by, 2045 or whatever. But here's what I need to show you. Look at that money that you don't have to give the bank. Look what it can do for you. In 2045, you would have an extra $216,000.
Wow.
To work with. And the next year, 447,000. Look at there.
Look at
2048, it's $1 million. You know what's going on here, Colleen? This is taking that money you're not giving the bank and getting a 1% return on your money. Oh. This is 1% return on your money. You can get way more.
That's just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. So, folks, what Colleen is talking about, what other real estate investors are talking about, is fantastic. But when you start using the bank's money, if you're not taking advantage of getting your money at a 75 to 80% discount, you are throwing not just that interest away, but millions of dollars away, because you're not investing the money that you are paying an interest and calling it, and this is what they say, it's the cost of doing business. Well, I want to lower the cost of doing business. Don't you?
Yeah.
Colleen, before we get out of here, one more time, tell the folks how they can get a hold of you, and then I'll tell them how they can get a hold of me.
Sure. On Instagram, Investing with Colleen, COLLEEN.
All right, folks. Don Daniel, if you want to know if you're a real estate investor, or if you are a residential home buyer, get a hold of us at ice10k.com. ice10k.com. All right. And when you get to ice10k.com, the first picture you're going to see is E.T., the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas, who used the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage. All right. E.T., thank you so much. You made us a lot of money. Okay. All right. So here's the other thing, folks. Scroll down underneath E.T.'s picture and click on this button here that says Get Your Savings and Earnings Report. Get your savings and earnings report. So, and then when you get that, when you click on that, it will take you to here and you get a free savings report. Now, go ahead and put in your information. Click on I want to save now. And then it will take you into the page where you can put in your financial information. It's free. If you want to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free, great. If you are a real estate investor, you may not be interested in paying off the properties. You may be interested in, Don, how fast and how cheaply can I get my equity so I can cash out refi. We handle all of that, and we will show you when that is feasible, when it makes sense. And you will be surprised when we eliminate that interest cost. And here's what we're going to do, folks. It's not just throwing money at the debt willy-nilly. You want to make sure that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. And most people don't know this. If you pay the right amount at the right time, you can cancel more interest per dollar than if you just do it any other way. So do you want your dollar to work as hard as it possibly can for you? You've earned it. Why not make it work hard? Do you know how many strategies we have for not paying, for legally avoiding taxes? I mean, there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of strategies out there to legally avoid paying taxes on the money you work hard for. Guess how many strategies we have for not paying the interest? Virtually none. And you're going to pay way more interest, and I mean way more interest than you'll ever pay in taxes. And we don't have any strategies as far as not paying the interest. I'm telling you right now, folks, we need to stop sleeping on this and incorporate this into our investment strategies. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Colleen, for being here. When you coming back, girl?
I definitely will be back in the near future. Thank you so much for this, Don. This was amazing.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We're going to get out of here. Thank Colleen. Put it in the chat. Give her some fiery emojis. Let her know how much you appreciate her. And folks, reach out to her. She gave us some valuable game today. The least you could do is reach out, ask some additional questions, and take advantage of this fantastic offer that she has given us today. All right. So I want you to please don't sit on this. When you hear something good, move on it right away. Now, once you get your information, then you can choose, this is great for me or it's not for me. But here's what you don't want to do. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until next week. Don't wait until a month from now and think, I will reach out then. Other things are going to happen in your life and you will not do it. If it's in your mind to do it today. All right, folks, we're out of here. And Colleen, we're going to talk soon because there's some things that I want to take advantage of as well. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you, Don.
All right. See you, buddy. We're out.